Are you pouring every single ounce of energy into your business, into your work, into your team, only to find yourself running on fumes? Last year, I was putting in 80-hour work weeks sometimes just to make it happen. I was so burnt out, I had to call in sick just to rest. I thought the path to growth was to put your head down and to hustle until it cost me my health. Today, I'm going to share one simple mindset shift that stopped the burnout before it consumed me. So stick around if you've ever felt that the hustle culture has you on the treadmill to exhaustion. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the episode today. We're going to talk about when hustle fails. And this is really something that I see a lot of leaders, I see a lot of business owners that I coach. All they know how to do is hustle. All they know how to do is to put their head down. They're entrenched in this toxic hustle culture. And I used to think that that was the only way. I used to think that I had this mindset of being always on, that you needed to produce, high energy all the time to get things done. And I found myself really glorifying burnout. I found myself expecting myself to work 80 hours a week. I mean, I would get in, go to work, come home, work on my side, businesses, and I was burning myself out. I had this all or nothing mindset that if I wasn't grinding, that I was failing or I was moving backwards. And I got to the point where it was impacting my health. It was impacting my relationships. So I had to make a conscious decision to get into more of a healthy drive mindset where I still had goals. I still had energy. I still had a vision, a big, big vision, but I did it in a very sustainable way where I was able to balance the output also with some recovery. And today we're going to talk about 3 ways that I recommend you, if you're out there and you find yourself just only working, not able to do the things that you want to do with your family, with your friends, with your significant other. And in the end, that's why I work so hard, is to be able to give them the things that I didn't have, to be able to spend time though with the experience. That's what I wasn't getting. So the first one we're going to talk about is just recognizing, you have to spot your toxic habits. And we have to become aware of these before we course correct. So maybe for me, one of the things that I noticed pretty quickly is when I would come home and I'd get into, my next thing, I'd start working on my next business or preparing for the next day. And my wife would come in and she said, dinner was ready. And I said, okay, I'll be there in a little bit. And then 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour would go by. I'd walk in and it was already cleaned up. I missed that opportunity. And I didn't recognize that those were the signs that she was trying to pull me in and have dinner, and I just needed to work. So I came up with this activity, this audit. I'm a big audit your relationships, audit your work. And I started rating myself in 3 areas: focus, energy, and then satisfaction. And I would take the activities that I was doing and I'd use a scale from 1 to 5. So 1 being low energy or low focus, or low satisfaction, and 5 being high. And I would spend a Friday and I'd look back at the week and I'd say, okay, what are the things that I accomplished this week? And then I'd rate them on these 3 areas. And anything below 3 was a flag for me. And I would dig deeper. For example, the dinner. My dinner was an experience, was an activity that I was missing out on. I didn't have the focus. I definitely didn't have the energy. And I wasn't satisfied because it was impacting my marriage. So that's just an example of a way that you can recognize, you can spot those toxic hustle traits that you are doing throughout the week. We all have them. If you are a successful person, which every single one of you listening to this podcast are, you have these traits in your routine. I can promise you. So Another really, really good question that I like to ask myself, and you can even ask your team this, is how sustainable is this pace? Because I'm not ignorant to the fact that there are going to be weeks where you got to put your head down. It's a busy week. There's deadlines. Maybe it's the end of a quarter. Maybe, you got a big product launch or whatever that looks like. So I'm not talking about those weeks. I'm talking about when you string that week with another week. And then pretty soon you're turning into 4 to 6 weeks of 80-hour work weeks. And that's when the impact hits. So how sustainable is that pace? How sustainable is the current pace that you are on? That's a way for you to really wake up and be honest with yourself. Because in the end, 1 week can turn into 6 weeks pretty quick. Time goes by really quick whenever you're in the grind and you're in the thick of things. So the first thing that we got to do and not allow hustle to fail is spot those toxic hustle culture habits. The second one that we're going to talk about today is setting those unbreakable boundaries. And here, boundaries aren't walls. Like boundaries for me are those guardrails. You hear me talk a lot about the guardrails of life, and they keep us in bounds. They keep us continuing on in a sustainable way. Because if we start breaking outside of those guardrails, that's when things can go south pretty quick. So what are some techniques? What are some things that I like to do? Power hours. These power hours I normally do through the week. I will block off my schedule. You can do them daily too. I take a day if you got a time for the day and devote it to one task. Set a timer, get your phone out, put it on 45 minutes or put it on an hour, 60 minutes, and only do that one task. This right here was a game changer for me. I never realized how much I task switched. And it used to be multitasking was a good thing. Multitasking for me just allows me to really do a lot of things in a halfway. What I recognized with this power hour is if I stay focused on a task, 1, I got that task done. 2, it was a higher quality. And 3, it didn't consistently keep on getting put to the end of the list because what was happening, I'd have my to-do list beginning of the day. And by the end of the day, I may get 2 or 3 of those things marked off or halfway completed, but someone would come into the office or I'd take a meeting during, the time that I was writing a report or reviewing whatever I needed to review, and then I'd have to go back to it. So even though I thought I was getting more done, that wasn't the reality. So these power hours have really helped me focus on one thing, get it done, get it checked off the list, and then moving on to the next. I want to take a quick break from the episode today to talk about a couple things. The first thing, less than 40% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. You would be doing me a huge favor if you click on that subscribe button. It helps us grow our Go Be Great community and get this podcast out to as many people as we possibly can. The second thing, are you a small business owner that is drowning in the day-to-day operations? You're delegating tasks and you're still doing all the work. You're experiencing a high turnover. Maybe you don't have the systems and processes in place that you need to run a successful business. I invite you to go over to thejohnespinosa.com, fill out the form to see if you're the right fit. Now back to the episode. And then I instituted probably, 6 months ago, I started doing no meeting days. So I have 1 day a week, and you can do this 1 day every 2 weeks, 1 day a pay period if you want, where you don't have any meetings. The entire day is open, and you block out the entire day on my calendar. I don't meet with anybody. Those are the days that allow me to develop myself, work on my professional development, allow me to plan strategically for my business, for my organization and my team. It's a game changer. And you only have to do it 1 day a pay period, at least, at the minimum, 1 day every 2 weeks. You have it. You got that time. Trust me. Make it a no meeting day. Don't take any meetings. Leave it all open because, trust me, if you are highly productive, you're going to find things to fill that day with. But don't fill them with meetings. Keep it open. 2 very powerful techniques that I have. And then the last one that I use is auto replies, because I got into this game of, at 5:30 when we were working from home, COVID, a lot of things, offices shut down. It was easy to check an email at 6:30 at night and then feel like I had to respond to that email because I opened it. But what I realized was those little things were eating away at the time that I was supposed to be spending with my family. I was supposed to be spending on myself, whatever that other opportunity is. So now what I've done is I set up an auto email reply after, 4:30 after the workday, whatever your end of workday looks like, that you receive their email and that you will reply to them in the morning or you will get back to them in 24 hours. This has been a game changer for me because the customer still gets the reply that I wanted them to receive, like I was on it. But now I'm not going in there and I don't feel like I have to check the email at 6:30 and 7:30 in the evening or 8 even, or when I go to bed. That's the last thing I would do is open up my inbox and see what I could reply to. I don't do that anymore. It's allowed me to step away from the business and focus on those things that are important. So setting those unbreakable boundaries, those guardrails, are going to allow you to focus on the things in a sustainable way and not feel like you have to constantly push and hustle your way through or to success. And then the last one that I want to talk about today is embedding these recovery rhythms. And these are things that I just wasn't doing enough of. Sustainable work is built on cycles of work and then recovery. It's no different than if you exercise, if you run, if we're consistently pushing our body to its max, injury is going to occur. If you lift heavy every single day and you don't allow any recovery for your muscles, what's going to happen? You're going to tear something, you're going to get injured. It's no different than our mental well-being. If we continue to think that we got to hustle and we got to grind every single day, it's not a matter of if, it's when. So what are some things that I've done? One, micro breaks. Micro breaks throughout the day have allowed me to step away because what would happen, Tuesdays was my meeting day. I would fill Tuesday up. And then people had access to my calendar and any little white space that I had in there, 30-minute, 15-minute blocks in between meetings, that's when they would call. That's when they'd see my status light go to green and boom, I'd get a Teams phone call or I'd get a call on my phone, whatever that looked like. So what I do now is every 90 minutes, I just get up and walk away. I walk away from my desk. I go outside. Maybe I go get water, refill on the water, whatever you're going to do. But the micro breaks, just the 5 minutes, every 90 minutes allowed me to get up, work, stretch, whatever that looks like. I'll walk up and down the stairs, get the blood flowing a little bit. And then boom, now I'm back 90 more minutes in the saddle doing what I need to do. It has been a game changer. It really has allowed me to get up. I look less sore. My back's less sore from sitting in a chair. I also got one of those sit and stand desks. So every 90 minutes, that's my 5-minute break is I'll stand up for 5 minutes. And, if I have to continue to work, I'll continue to work, but at least I'm moving my body. So a great way, micro breaks, work them into your day. And then I call these things pause weeks. They're really just something for me. It started out as mini vacations. So my wife and I realized that these week-long vacations, it was hard to be away from both of our businesses for a week. And we got to thinking, okay, it's about the experience. It's just about getting away. So we started to plan shorter getaways, 3 days. And that's where these pause weeks come from. So 4 times a year, we plan a getaway, a weekend getaway, to where you get a sale on some airplane tickets or you drive to a location and you spend 3 or 4 days, break away from the operation 4 times a year, and it allows you just to recharge your battery. So you're not gone a week worrying about all the things that are piling up back home, back in your business with your team. 3 to 4 days is a weekend. So normally people aren't working during that 2-day time frame. So you're really only taking off 2 days. It has changed the way that I have looked at vacationing. And my wife and I, we have older kids, so we're in a spot now where we can pick up and go on the weekend. You may not be there, but plan, even if it's not just you and a significant other, maybe it's a little family, get away for a day or two at least. And plan 4 times a year. This isn't a lot of times a year. You're looking at 8 to maybe 12 days a year that you can step away from your business. If you can't step away from your business 14 days a year broken up into 4 just pause weeks, we got other problems that we need to talk about. So these 2 ways, having micro breaks, having pause weeks 4 times a year, has really allowed me to embed this recovery rhythm. And it's a rhythm. schedule it. Put it on your calendar. I got my calendar up here, and all the breaks that I'm taking are all up there, and I'm looking forward to them. It gives you something to look forward to. So yeah, when you are in the grind, and you're grinding a day, you're grinding 2 days, maybe it's a week full, you know that a recovery period is coming up. You know that a rest period is coming up. It does a lot for your psyche and a lot for your mind. So I know these 3 strategies that we talked about today are going to put you in a healthy drive mindset, get you out of that toxic hustle culture, and allow you to recharge that battery in a sustainable way. So the main takeaway here is, are you building a business at your expense, or are you building a business, a team, an organization that thrives with you? I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor, click on that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.